Case file number 4001.2. The Monk of the Final Religion. Transcribed from video recording. Interview of Calvin Shaw. The following interview of Calvin Shaw is transcribed from a video file labeled DDI Room 1, Camera A, dated October 10, 2015. Timestamp on the recording begins at 16 hours 34 minutes and 16 seconds. The interview is being conducted by Special Agent Ruby Gamble, Specialist of Foreign Anomalies. Calvin Shaw enters interview room at 16 hours 40 minutes and 11 seconds. Agent Travis, go ahead. Have a seat at that far chair for me, would you? Calvin Shaw, this one right here? Agent Travis, yeah, that'll do. Calvin Shaw's, will my wife be coming in, or? Agent Travis, your wife's being interviewed just next door, Mr. Shaw. We want to make sure your accounts line up independently, we hope you understand. Calvin Shaw's, no, I understand completely. Just wanted to be sure. Agent Travis, no problem, thank you for your patience with us, Mr. Shaw. We hope to have you and your wife out of here in no time. Calvin Shaw's, hope so, it's been a wild couple of days. Looking forward to seeing the sun again. Agent Shaw left the interview room at 16 hours 41 minutes and 4 seconds. Special Agent Gamble entered the interview room at 16 hours 45 minutes and 42 seconds. Special Agent Gamble, hi, Mr. Shaw. Extends her hand, Mr. Shaw takes it and they shake. I'm Special Agent Ruby Gamble. It's nice to see you. Calvin Shaw's, nice to see you too, ma'am. I'm ready for this all to be over. Special Agent Gamble, oh, I bet. It's been exciting, and I completely understand if you're a little confused or frightened right now. Calvin Shaw's, I'm a little nervous. I guess. I'm definitely something right now. Special Agent Gamble, understandable. We like to keep a tight lid on things around here, and sometimes that's not the most opportune for those who didn't ask to be here. Are you thirsty? Calvin Shaw's, no, thank you. Special Agent Gamble, hungry. Calvin Shaw's, not terribly, they gave us a little just about half an hour ago, maybe. Little sandwich. Special Agent Gamble, okay, well, if you don't mind I'm going to request the agents outside bring a couple waters in. I'm feeling a little thirsty. Calvin Shaw's, I have no problem with that. Special Agent Gamble, good, good, well I don't see any reason to keep you waiting any longer. I just had a few questions I wanted to ask you, and after that we'll see if we can get you on your way. Does that sound good to you? Calvin Shaw's, more than you'd ever believe. Special Agent Gamble, okay, awesome, well, I just wanted to ask a little about the events that transpired 3 days ago, October 7th, inside the Indian state of Bihar. See, our main focus with you two is the issue of containment. The incident that occurred, that you both were witness to, is one of great importance to our department and one we want to handle with the utmost care. Consider it an issue of national security, understand? Calvin Shaw's, completely. Special Agent Gamble, and you will tell me the full truth to the best of your ability. Calvin Shaw's, of course, that's all I've done since the beginning. Special Agent Gamble, perfect, you do that, and I guarantee we'll have both of you out of here as fast as humanly possible. Now, you and your wife were on vacation, correct? Calvin Shaw's, if that's what you want to call it. Didn't exactly feel very relaxing. Special Agent Gamble, I bet, both you and your wife, were visiting the village of Bodh Gaya, correct? Calvin Shaw's, yes, ma'am. Special Agent Gamble, one of the holiest pilgrimage sites in the world, right? Calvin Shaw's, it is if you're Buddhist, yes. Special Agent Gamble, you Buddhist? Calvin Shaw's, laughing no, just thought it would be something to see. You know? Special Agent Gamble, sure, just wanted to be sure. What religion do you follow? If you don't mind me asking, of course. Calvin Shaw's, I was born Catholic, but I've kinda just let that part of me just let it slip away. Special Agent Gamble, would you consider yourself an atheist now? Calvin Shaw's, not particularly. Is this actually important? Special Agent Gamble, hang tight, Mr. Shaw. I guarantee it is. Now, you were inside Bodh Gaya on the day in question. You went to Mahobodhi temple, correct? Sometime around 1300 hours and 1400 hours? Approximately the time frame when the event in question occurred? Calvin Shaw's, we went inside the temple at about 1:33, so, yeah, I think that's about right. Sorry, I had to do the conversion in my head. Special Agent Gamble, no problem, just wanted to check. Can you describe to me, in your own words, what you saw inside the temple? Can you describe the event to me? Calvin Shaw's, I mean, I can try, but I've been trying to explain this to myself for the past 3 days, and nothing about it makes sense. I know you guys seem very interested, but I feel like if I tell you it's gonna feel like a waste of your time. Special Agent Gamble, not in this department, it's not. Calvin Shaw's, which department is this, exactly? Special Agent Gamble, please begin the story, Mr. Shaw. Calvin Shaw's, well, it was a normal day. Hot, little muggy, clouds rolling in the sky, but we were enjoying ourselves. Special Agent Gamble, did it rain later? Calvin Shaw's, yeah. It poured, actually. Special Agent Gamble, noted, tell me about the temple. Calvin Shaw's, we entered the temple. Beautiful architecture. Cost to get in. Cost a little bit extra for the camera fee. Special Agent Gamble, did you take any pictures? Calvin Shaw's, no, we didn't pay the fee. Guess it might have helped you guys out. I'm personally glad. I don't want to see that again. Special Agent Gamble, continue, please. Calvin Shaw's, okay, well, inside the temple there are hordes of monks. To them, there is no closer place to enlightenment on the face of the earth, so they congregate there. They all look the same. Not in a racial way, but in a uniform way. You know? Orange robes, bald head, that kind of thing. Special Agent Gamble, right. Calvin Shaw's, well, there was this one guy who immediately stood out among the rest. The monk in black. The monk of the final religion. Special Agent Gamble, how did you know his name? Calvin Shaw's, what? Special Agent Gamble, you called him the monk of the final religion. Where did you hear those words? Calvin Shaw's, truth be told, I honestly can't tell you, ma'am. I just know. Special Agent Gamble, he didn't say it? Calvin Shaw's, no, not that specifically. Not from what I remember. Special Agent Gamble, what did he look like when you first saw him? Calvin Shaw's, he looked like a walking corpse, to be honest with you. He wore all black, from his neck all the way down to his feet. His robe was baggy and ragged. Special Agent Gamble, he looked like a corpse? Can you clarify? Calvin Shaw's, his skin was pale. No, not pale, it was gray. Nothing but gray skin and bones. His face was sunken, and his eyes he could barely hold them open. Not sure if he was just old, or if he was diseased initially, but no expression on his face at all. Special Agent Gamble, what did he do? Calvin Shaw's, my wife pointed him out to me, first. The way he lumbered through the crowd, it was hard to miss him. The other monks seemed to avoid him. Special Agent Gamble, did the other monks seem to fear him or? Calvin Shaw's, no, they just seemed disdainful. You know, I don't think they knew any more about him than we did. Just that he was a guy in a crowd. Special Agent Gamble, When did he stop being just a guy in a crowd? Calvin Shaw's, it was a young lady who bumped into him first. She was taking pictures and didn't see him coming. Special Agent Gamble, another tourist? Calvin Shaw's, I think so, but she was Indian too. Anyways, this guy bumps into her, and she turns around just to see him, and that's when it happened first. Special Agent Gamble, how did it happen? Calvin Shaw's, he put his hand on her shoulder, and he whispered something in her ear. It took maybe 5, maybe 10 seconds in total. But that was all he needed. He whispered one phrase, and she was his. Special Agent Gamble, explain. Calvin Shaw's, she followed him around after that. Closely. She started lumbering just like him. I didn't think much of it. Maybe she knew him. Maybe he'd asked her to follow him. I didn't care what. She just did, and I went on my way. Special Agent Gamble, what happened next? Calvin Shaw's, the guy started amassing his followers. That's the only way I could put it. We were walking through, admiring the scenery, and every once in a while I'd turn around and see him. Each time I did, I noticed his line of admirers had grown longer. Started with just a handful, but within just about, I don't know, 10 minutes he'd had about 20 following him in a large group. All of them stumbling around as mindlessly as him. That was about when I realized that something wasn't quite right. Special Agent Gamble, did you do anything? Calvin Shaw's, what could I have done? I didn't know what was happening. I still don't know what's happening. Special Agent Gamble, describe what he did with the group he amassed. Calvin Shaw's, he collected maybe a couple more, and then there's this room inside the temple. There's a giant golden Buddha inside. A statue. Supposed to represent the deity overthrowing evil spirits, or something along those lines. He led them all straight to it. The whole time he was mumbling. Special Agent Gamble, mumbling. Did you hear it? Calvin Shaw's, no, I just saw his lips moving. It could have just been a tremor or something, I don't know. I don't particularly care. Anyways, there's normally a barrier keeping people out of that room. It's a look don't touch kind of scenario. Agents enter with water at 16 hours 51 minutes and 53 seconds. Special Agent Gamble, thank you. Are you sure you're not thirsty? Did you get something to drink earlier? Calvin Shaw's, positive, and I think I skipped it. Don't feel particularly thirsty, thanks anyways. Special Agent Gamble, no problem. You were talking about the room. Calvin Shaw's, they went in there. Don't know how they got through the barrier, but they filled that room. Shoulder to shoulder. Hand in hand. There, I don't know what to call him, their leader, sat at the front of them. Cross-legged, right in front of the Buddha statue. Special Agent Gamble, right. And that's when you knew something was up? Calvin Shaw's, we knew that when they all started chanting. Special Agent Gamble, you heard them chanting? What did they say? Calvin Shaw's, it wasn't English, I don't know. It wasn't Hindi, or Sanskrit, or any other dialect that I recognized. Granted, there aren't many I do, but no one there seemed to understand what they were saying. Special Agent Gamble, how did the others react? How did you react? Calvin Shaw's, react is the appropriate word, because from the moment they started there was an immediate reaction. The intensity of that reaction varied based on how close you were. The people closest to them just started screaming. Special Agent Gamble, in pain or fear? Calvin Shaw's, pain, I think. They were primal. It startled us, called our eyes. And it drowned them all out for a moment. Then, those who were screaming joined in too. Special Agent Gamble, joined in the chanting? Calvin Shaw's, exactly, and then the ones just past them started screaming too. Then they started chanting. It was a chain reaction that spread outwards, like waves, and that monk was the epicenter. Special Agent Gamble, so, you're claiming that these words traveled along and infected people? Almost like a virus? Calvin Shaw's, I don't know. It seemed to change them, that's for sure. We wondered at first if maybe it was something scripted, like a Buddhist ritual, or something, but then people started running. Special Agent Gamble, you said that the effects varied based on distance. How far away from the epicenter were you? Calvin Shaw's, maybe 200 feet. Special Agent Gamble, did the chanting have an effect on you? Calvin Shaw's, I think so. My wife said she felt it too, but I got a headache. It was negligible at first, but it grew as the chanting did. Like the chanting was causing me pain. I have to put 2 and 2 together, right? But it doesn't make sense. Special Agent Gamble, little in this world does. Was the headache all? Calvin Shaw's, you ever get those moments where you remember something really embarrassing you've done? Peed yourself in front of someone? Tripped in front of the person you like? It was like that, but with pain. Every time I'd ever been hurt. Physically. Emotionally. Crashing my bike and skidding down my gravel driveway in elementary school, breaking my collarbone playing rugby in college, the death of my mother, they all came back to me in that moment. And it had to have been them. It had to have been that chanting. It just made me feel wrong. Special Agent Gamble, your wife felt the same? Calvin Shaw's, yeah, I'm sure she'll tell you. She cried for hours afterwards. Doesn't this all seem crazy to you? Special Agent Gamble, of course it does. Calvin Shaw's, you don't seem fazed at all. Special Agent Gamble, crazy doesn't constitute unusual for me. Afterwards, you managed to get away from the temple, okay? You said people were running. How did you guys escape? Calvin Shaw's, yeah. We ran with the others. The wave couldn't continue long after that. Everyone who'd been there left earshot, and that's what stopped it? It stopped the pain. Stopped the memories. Didn't stop me from feeling like shit, though. Special Agent Gamble, did those who were chanting make any effort to follow you? Calvin Shaw's, no, once they started chanting they just kind of stopped, anything. They sat down with the others. Special Agent Gamble, just to clarify, was it only those inside the temple, closest to the epicenter, the ones who were chanting? Calvin Shaw's, no, a few people stopped on the way outside, scattered amongst us. They'd just stop in their tracks and start chanting, loudly. They caught a few people trying to flee, but for the most part we avoided it. I think most everyone got out of there. Special Agent Gamble, they just stopped? Even though they were farther away from the monk? Calvin Shaw's, yeah, they just suddenly succumbed. Special Agent Gamble, like a delayed reaction? Calvin Shaw's, I suppose so, yeah. Special Agent Gamble, anything else unusual about the victims? Anything at all noteworthy? Calvin Shaw's, well, it started raining outside as we ran. Saw it on a few of those scattered ones outside the temple. Raindrops fell, landed on their skin, and I swore I saw smoke coming off them. Like it burned them. Special Agent Gamble, the rain harmed them? Calvin Shaw's, yeah, seemed to. Left welts, large ones, from what I could see. I don't know why. It didn't harm us at all. Special Agent Gamble, are you okay? You seem a bit flustered. Calvin Shaw's, sorry, just remembering it's uncomfortable. Special Agent Gamble, emotionally. Mentally. Physically. Calvin Shaw's, all of the above. Special Agent Gamble, you may just be dehydrated. Calvin Shaw's, no, I'm fine. Special Agent Gamble, as for the rain, another side effect of the chanting, You assume? Calvin Shaw's, yeah, I mean, it had to be, but I don't understand how. They were just words. Words can't possibly have that effect on people. What we saw was impossible. Manipulation, physical and mental. Sorry, it's a lot to remember. Special Agent Gamble, I understand, you've both been through a trauma. We appreciate you working with us, we really do. I only have a few items left to take care of. If you don't mind, would you care to take a look at these pictures our crew took at the site of the incident? Calvin Shaw's, oh, God. I'd rather not. I don't. Special Agent Gamble, please, Mr. Shaw. We want to confirm that there is nothing in these photos that might make you recall something. Something important. We just have to be sure. It's a matter of national importance. Calvin Shaw's, okay, I suppose I can. 3 photos are laid before Calvin Shaw at 16 hours 56 minutes and 39 seconds. Calvin Shaw's, okay, wow. How long after were these taken? Special Agent Gamble, hours. Calvin Shaw's, Jesus, and you're sure? Special Agent Gamble, did any of the infected exhibit physical symptoms similar to the ones you see before you? Calvin Shaw's, no. No, not at what's that coming out of them? Special Agent Gamble, we don't know. And it's not exactly coming out of them. We believe it's growing out of them. Calvin Shaw's, Jesus, and this was the Buddha room. Special Agent Gamble, yes. Calvin Shaw's, are they still up there? Special Agent Gamble, not that I should be telling you, but yes. They are. No one knows how to properly transport the victims at the current time. Calvin Shaw's, they've almost morphed together. They don't even look. Special Agent Gamble, I can take those back, Mr. Shaw. Calvin Shaw's, they look like tendrils, like roots. I think I can see him smiling in there. Special Agent Gamble, Mr. Shaw, please. I can take those. Calvin Shaw's, right, sorry. Here. Special Agent Gamble, sorry you had to see that. Calvin Shaw's, that was almost us. But how? It doesn't make any sense. Special Agent Gamble, no, it doesn't. You were correct in your assumptions, because we believe the same. However impossible, exposure to the words of that monk created physiological changes within the victim seen here. Changes in you and your wife as well. Calvin Shaw's, no, but we got away. We're both here, we're fine. We're not whatever the hell that was. That didn't happen to us. Special Agent Gamble, but you did hear the words, right? Calvin Shaw's, we heard a little, just a fraction. But, like I said, the effects didn't last long. Special Agent Gamble, you're sweating a bit, are you sure you don't want some? Calvin Shaw's, no, thank you. It's just warm, I've got a headache, and... Special Agent Gamble, would you like some Advil? Calvin Shaw's, hopefully I'll be able to pick some up on the way home, thank you very much. Special Agent Gamble, it's a good plan, stay right here for a moment and I'll record your testimony. Thank you so much, Mr. Shaw. Special Agent Gamble leaves the interrogation room at 17 hours 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Starting at 17 hours 2 minutes and 33 seconds, the sound input for camera A is turned off by authorization of Special Agent Ruby Gamble. Calvin Shaw stands and starts pacing the room at 17 hours 24 minutes and 10 seconds. At 17 hours and 34 minutes 5 DSA. Containment agents equipped with padded, soundproof suits enter, and forcefully remove Calvin Shaw from the interrogation room. Calvin Shaw starts screaming at and resisting D.S.A, containment agents. At 17 hours 34 minutes and 23 seconds, video from camera A catches Calvin Shaw knocking over the interrogation table in the scuffle. Calvin Shaw is pinned against the floor by DSA. Containment agents at 17 hours 34 minutes and 54 seconds. At 17 hours 35 minutes and 3 seconds, it is noted that as the DSA containment agents lifted the now handcuffed Calvin Shaw off the floor, Calvin Shaw is then escorted out of the interrogation room at 17 hours 35 minutes and 35 seconds. Additional note, at 17 hours 34 minutes and 11 seconds, smoke is visible within the interrogation room, emanating presumably from Calvin Shaw's person. Property of the DSA. Designation, top secret. Case status, unresolved.